We're here at the Small Business Power Breakfast and Conference. I'm excited to say that we had a great day.
This event was a wow. Every panel, every speaker has had so much amazing content and good information to share.
This is a good day to put aside to come out and do some learning, but also make some great connections. The ones that I made were impactful.
Yeah, so the importance of connecting with other people to grow my business, I really never know what leads to what. I might sit next to somebody at a conference I would have never met anywhere else, and their cousin might be the biggest client I ever had.
We kicked off the day with the Power Breakfast. Our speaker was Gene Bohinski, and his topic was maximizing the value of your business.
Most business owners don't know what the value of their business is and don't really know the factors that drive the value of their business. 80% of businesses that are listed don't sell, and of the ones that do, 3/4 of the business owners afterwards say they were unsatisfied or they had serious regrets about the process.
And the morning speaker was excellent as well, got us learning what we needed to do in order to be able to ensure that our business would run without us, which I never even considered. And that's something that I'm going to be looking at now to make sure that the revenues are moving forward and my business is moving forward without me, which means I can make more money and work less. Otherwise, I'm just going to be in a job like I was before.
For lunch, we had our keynote speaker, Casey Carpenter, who talked about being able to sell even as an introvert.
I'm Casey Carpenter, the Sales Breakthrough Coach, and I gave a presentation today about 5 ways to dispel fear in selling and boost the revenue in your business. I have written a book called Introverts in Sales, Turn Your Peaceful Power into a Powerful Selling Machine. I myself am a painfully shy introvert who overcame a lot. My number one tip is to quit pitching and start connecting, because it's really through relationship building and connection and genuine like for each other that sales even happen in the first place.
I mean, why is it that we can't think of sales as something that is wonderful, where two people sit across the desk from each other and we agree, and there's solutions and promises, and it's really nice? Why can't it be that way? I believe it can.
And buying a property that they see as cheap, even though we see as expensive. And ladies and gentlemen, it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop. So my question is, opportunity. FYI, I want to say to you, there's a situation right now that a lot of people don't realize. You hear about that the infrastructure $1 trillion money that the government has approved. Well, there's a part of it, a little small piece called the Tunnel Project, and that Tunnel Project is $25 billion. And they're supposed to give 10 to 20% of that to small women-owned businesses. Small businesses, women-owned businesses, and minority businesses. My question is, do you have your eye trained on that target? Now, I'm talking about $25 billion, so 10% of $25 billion is $2.5 billion. Listen to me right now. If they gave those contracts out right now, half of them would have to give it back. Do you know why? Banks are going to love this one, because they don't have the financing. And there's a need for partnership. The contracts will be so large that the smallest contract will be $1 million. And if you don't have the capacity, then you need to be listening to this gentleman right here in reference to partnership and joint ventures. Because partnership and joint ventures are necessary. Because the bottom line is, it's better for you to have a piece of something than 100% of nothing. Let me say it again. She said, "We say it again." It's better for you to have a piece of something than 100% of nothing. We have a great opportunity right now. Don't miss it. Don't blow it. And don't be shy in reference to introducing yourself and tying in with people. Because the beginning of everything is, I got to know you. I got to like you. I got to trust you before I do business with you. And it starts right here. So bottom line, let's give our friend, our mentor, our coach, our host, Andrew Frazier, this hand of thank you, Andrew, for bringing us all together.
Thank you, Jeff. Thanks, everybody. What a warm welcome and what great energy. And that's what we're generating here today at the Power Breakfast. It's all about supercharging your day, generating energy, excitement, knowledge, expertise, and relationships around supporting you to be more successful in your entrepreneurship and small business journey. So one of the key things is we talked about earlier is your most important job is marketing and sales. So we would be remiss if we didn't spend time focusing on helping you be better at marketing and sales. So that's what this afternoon is all about. This morning we scared you. So now this afternoon, we scared you with the numbers. So now this afternoon, we're going to really help you understand and prepare you to be able to generate the numbers that you need so you don't have to be scared anymore. And this afternoon, our speaker, Jimmy Newson, I've known him for several years. We've collaborated. Some people say we look alike, but I don't know, just because we don't have any hair. But this gentleman is extremely sharp. This gentleman is so knowledgeable about digital marketing, the future of where marketing goes, and really how to compete and generate competitive advantage. So you're in for a treat. We have him here. Last month, he was speaking in front of the Digital World Forum in London. So that's the type of person we have here today. So I'm very excited to invite Jimmy Newson to the stage and look forward to hearing some great words and some great knowledge. I always learn something when I hear from him as well. So thanks, Jimmy.
All right. Thank you, Andrew. Ladies and gentlemen, how you doing? I said, ladies and gentlemen, how you doing? All right. And for all you guys online, hello. My name is Jimmy Newson, and I'll be talking to you about leveraging data and insight to build really great strategic partnerships. This is much more important for a small business now than it ever was before. There's this thing called the digital divide, and it is what separates us from the big businesses. But if we can bridge that gap, the benefits are tremendous for the small business owner, for our customers and everyone that we serve, and also for our communities that we live in. And whether you're focusing on local, regional, national, or global, this really helps set the stage for your business to explode, okay? Brendan Bouchard calls this connecting to the super train. So at the end of the day, even if you're just starting out, you have the ability to create amazing partnerships just from one thing alone, the knowledge you possess inside your head. And when you can take that knowledge and package that knowledge up and put your spin on it, you create an opportunity where you're in extreme demand, high demand. And all you have to do is show up and deliver. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. This goes for brick and mortar. This goes for online businesses. This goes for hybrid businesses, which everybody in here should be. Even if you have a 100% online business, you can build offline strategies that's going to help you benefit on both sides of the fence. So I like to make this extremely interactive. So even though I'm going to go through a slide deck that you can all have access to, so you don't have to focus on writing notes, you can just kind of be in the moment, follow with me. work with me, grow with me, teach me some things. Because believe me, the best part of a presentation to me is the Q&A session. Because that's when I get to be very specific on what you may not have understood. And I also get to learn what I did not explain very well. So we all learn. So we're good with that? Then let's rock and roll. So I wrote down some notes here, even though they're there, because there's so much I can talk about. I just get so excited about this stuff. Okay, so I don't like much talking about myself, so I'm gonna make this really quick. My name is Jimmy Newson. I do a lot of things, and then boom, there we go. So, I own a company called Moving Forward Small Business. This company was started during the pandemic. I had an incredible conversation just a minute ago about innovation that happens during the pandemic. And you may say, well, why? And the thing is, with pandemics and recessions and all this other crazy words that you're hearing, is that when these things happen, you're going into fight or flight mode. But more importantly, opportunities, problems start to present themselves clearer. And when problems can be clearer, it's actually easier to see, how can I solve that problem? So when everything is going perfectly fine, problems are hidden. So that's why you see a lot more innovation and whatnot when it comes to these type of situations, because it's now easier to identify. The question is, are you ready to take up the challenge? Okay. So I do a lot of speaking. I'm also the senior advisor for the New York Marketing Association. As Andrew said, I just got back from London. I speak to small businesses around marketing, promotion, sales, anything in that digital realm, because everyone has to have some type of digital strategy connected to their overall marketing strategy, connected to their overall business strategy. So, and there's three things that I look for when it comes to partnerships, and when it comes to anything, and this is foundational: vision, purpose, vision, mission. These are the three things that are going to drive these partnerships forward that we're going to talk about. So Ahrefs is the partner on this program that I created. They're a software company. They help you analyze your website. Now, I left them up here because I was going to take it down because this is different, but Ahrefs paid for multiple 3- and 6-part programs that I produce for small business owners around the world. They front the bill for me to show my expertise. Now, if everyone in this room was a dental hygienist, what would be the one thing that separates everybody in this room? Anybody? If you don't know, I'm going to give it to you. 5, 4, 3. Personality, I like that because personality is important. Say it again. Skills. Location, smiles. Results. Technology. Social media presence. All important. The word I'm looking for is your expertise, how you see things. So every person in here, if you all did the same thing, you're still going to see things a little bit different. And then it also includes your personality. How do you deliver that to people? How do you want to interact with them? How do you want them to interact with you? So this is kind of all the preference before we really start to dive into things like this. So this partnership was a cold call, which turned into 5-figure sponsorship deals that I have on rotation with them. My objective is to get them for 6 figures for a much bigger thing. Now, the question becomes, why would they want to do something like this for me? And the thing that everybody has to understand, they're not doing it for me. In some cases, they probably couldn't care much about me at all. What they care about is my purpose, my vision, and my mission. Purpose, why do I do what I do? Vision, where do I want to be in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, as an organization, as an individual? Mission, how do I plan on getting there? You can answer those 3 things. You now have something that every organization, every individual would want to be a part of your situation, want to be a part of this bigger mission. I have deals. I'll just say this. I'll say it. So I'm working on partnership deals with organizations as big as in the sporting industry. I'm pitching a partnership deal with one of the biggest comedians in the world, his company. Some of you might know who that guy is. Okay? Now, there's one thing that has to be consistent in all these deals. They have to want to support small businesses. If they don't want to support my audience, there's no deal. which means that they already have to have defined that they want to support this audience. Now, how do we come together with that? Okay, so here's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about defining what a partnership really is, the benefits and challenges of building a strategic partnership, conducting research. Now, this is probably the most important step because it is actually the second step after the first step. So the first step is creation, and not creation of your products or services, creation of you. You are the nucleus, you and the business. So you're going to create a new version of you, or a more succinct version. How many of you guys have ever met someone and they go, "You're much more than I read about you online"? What is that telling you? You're doing a horrible job of expressing yourself online. That was me. And this was a pivotal moment in my career. Okay, so I'm going to tell you some of my accomplishments. So the importance of community, influencer marketing, and social media. Now, one thing I want to debunk real quick, social media is not digital marketing. Social media is a part of digital marketing. So there are so many other things that you can do. If you want to generate leads, social media is not your first stop. You want to generate leads, you need lead gen campaigns, you need structure, you need strategy, you need SEO, you know, all these other things. For me, social media is about finding your audience and directing them. You're a traffic person. You're going, you left, you front, you back. That's what social media to me is for. And when you have all these other things in place, it works a lot better. Okay, so if you don't have your foundation in place, that won't work. So I have 3 themes. Over the last 3 years, since the pandemic, I started having yearly themes. So the first theme I had, which was in 2020, was USP and UVP. Unique selling proposition, unique value proposition for me and my business. So, and this started because a colleague of mine said, "Hey, you can write for Entrepreneur Magazine." Who? Me. And I said, so I looked at it, looked at the opportunity. I was like, wow, man, I'd be in front of my target audience. This would be amazing. Okay. So, but I said, then I thought of 2 or 3 people that told me that I did not represent who I was when they read about me online. So I said, I got to fix that. So that's the working on me. So I went in, I looked at all my social media channels, I looked at everything that's going on my website, and I saw massive inconsistencies in messaging. I saw this one had something about me I did 5 years ago. This one had something I did yesterday. So I'm really excited about that because that's what I'm focusing on. And then this one didn't have anything on it. And people are visiting those because you're starting to expand your reach, which it gives you the opportunity to build your network. So I said, let me work on making sure. So the first thing I did was I hired a blog writer. How many of you guys like to talk about yourself? Show of hands. All right, we got a couple. How many would like to write a bio about yourself? Okay, I don't. And I know, and it's not that I can't do it. I can't do it justice. I'm too subjective about what's in it. So I hired someone else and said, you write about me. And she goes, well, let's work together. So I go, I'm not messing this up. I said, you take from me whatever you need, and you give me back what you get from me. She's the one that gave me my moniker. She's the one that added stuff that I never would have thought was going to go in my bio. And she was like, sometimes it's great to get an outside perspective on everything from you to your business. And when you're able to do that, now all you have to do is just use that as talking points. And now people get it, or the right people get it. Okay. And so that was the first thing. After I did that, now that I had this bio, I went back to all my social media, my websites, and my promotional materials, and cleaned everything up. Then I prepared a few things and I submitted to Entrepreneur. Now the process is you submit to be a writer, they get the application after you fill out this horribly long, whatever it is, and then they'll call you and vet you. After they vet you, they'll tell you if you get in or not. I submitted, I got in. There was no vetting. Why? Because the process that I went through to create everything that said what I was enough for them to go, yeah, we don't need to talk to this guy. Boom, approved. That's what you want. That's how I get partnership deals. because I do research. So of course, before I submit it, I had to make sure I understood exactly what they were looking for. And I had to make sure that I could align myself as much as possible without not being me. Because I think a lot of time when we do stuff online, let's just take dating, for example. You want to, you're this one person until they get to know you, and then you kind of show, oh, well, I really don't like to go canoeing. I just kind of said it, you know. I want to show up on dating sites, and I don't mean to use dating, but I'm going to. I want to show up on dating sites exactly how you're going to see me in 5 years. And that way, I stay consistent. And that's the kind of way you want to look at this whole process. You know, they talk about fake it till you make it, but you can still be real about who you are and where you're trying to go and what you're trying to do, even if you haven't done it yet. Does that make sense? Okay. So, second year, I focused on vision, mission, and purpose. This was 2021. So now that I cleaned my act up and I was this whole new man, now it's time to go out and start to think about what am I trying to do in this world, you know? And when you leverage a purpose, vision, and mission, it really allows you to think bigger than yourself. No major organization is going to partner with me because I'm Jimmy Newson. But if I tell you my vision is to save 1 million small businesses from failure by the year 2050, and I have kind of a plan to do it, doesn't have to be complete. And I say, hey, you want to talk about it? Now they're going, absolutely, because that's our audience. Now there's an opportunity to start talking. So there's a lot of other things that go under that. But you see how I didn't go in and go, hey, I'm a consultant and a digital marketer, and I want to do these things. They're going, yeah, good luck with that. Take care. You know, because they don't really care. You got to give them something to buy into. Okay. All right. And so let's go ahead and get started here. So what is a partnership? A partnership is not a win-win. It's a win-win-win. 3 wins. First win is for the end user, the customer, the client. They have to be top of the list. And that same customer has to be important to both you and the partner. Okay? The second win is now the partner. How do they win? And you determine how they win. It's up to you. You are the ringmaster in this conversation. That way, the power stays with you, and you're always looking out. It shows that you have their best interest and the best interest of their clients and whoever, stakeholders, employees, at your best interest. And then the third winner is you. And when you have it in that order, you already are focusing and you're pointing yourself in the right direction so you can make the moves that need to happen for you. Okay? So what are the benefits of developing a strategic partnership? And I'm going to give you guys a chance to throw out what you do. And I'm going to try to do my best on the fly to give you an idea of what a strategic partnership for your business could look like. Okay? So it gives you access to supplementary services. So for my new business, which is moving forward, small business, is only about 2 years old. But I've made more progress with this business than I have with all my other businesses combined. Okay? Reach new markets. Increase brand awareness, and this is a huge one, and then access to new customer base. So I do a lot of partnerships with SaaS companies. So I always say, as a small business owner, and you serve clients, not necessarily like B2C, but more B2B. If you have if you use a tool, and that tool helps you get results for your clients, there's your first partnership. Okay? Because they want that business, and you, as someone who leverages that tool to get wins for your customers, you can sell that tool 20 times better than any of their salespeople. Why is that? Can anybody tell me? Because you use it? You love it. You live it. Absolutely. You love it. You live it. You use it. But you use it not when they sell it. They usually talk about features and benefits. You talk about results. Huge difference. And when I go and I talk to people about results, I don't mention the tool. I show them how to get the result, and they're like, how? Oh, you can use this tool. I'll take it. That's it. Because they don't want the hole in the wall. They want to hang the picture, if you've heard that. So they buy the hammer so they can make the house look beautiful. Okay? So let's talk about challenges of creating a great partnership. And I'm going to share with you the tools. So at the end of this, I'm going to actually show you the tools, because how you're doing the research for these is strictly by leveraging tools online, especially when you're swimming upstream and you're trying to get bigger partners, okay? So choosing the right partner. You choose the wrong partner, it doesn't make sense. Plus, you're not going to get past high. So you got to make sure you got the right partner. You're going to make sure that you got a mutual beneficial alliance. And that is up to you to come up with that. You don't go, hey, my name is blah, 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 and I want to know how we can work together. They ain't got time for that. They're massively busy. So you need to be like, listen, so I'll give you a prime example. So there's a company, a software company I'm pitching right now, and they just got $58 million to help make the online world accessible to disabled. So what does that mean to me? That means that every website on the planet needs to be accessible, because 25% of the population identifies as disabled. So if your website is enabled to be able to work with disabled people, here's what happens. For you, it's a win-win, because there's only 2% of the entire website population that is accessible. 98% is not. So when they find a website that's accessible, guess what they do? They tell everybody, because it's an easier experience for them. They don't have to figure it out. They know you have the tools. So immediately you're winning over a new audience. And the fact that this audience struggles so much to leverage technology online, you're a win-win for them. So they sent an email out to all of us that are kind of on that level that we need to know this. And they said, here's what we're going to do with the money. We're going to create marketing and strategy programs for education. We're going to create programming. We're going to do this. So I said, okay. So I took the email and I copied that section, put it back into a new email, added a, hey, John, listed that and said, and this is what I can do for you, and listed everything that they told me that they wanted. Sent it back to them and said, when can I have a meeting? They called back and said, is Tuesday good enough? And so what's my goal? Like Precious said, get that money. But there is alignment there, because I know the company, their audience is my audience, and I actually can help them achieve that. Okay? And that's because I'm clear on what my company does, what our purpose is. So let's go back to my purpose. If my purpose is to help 1 million businesses be successful, then I need tools like that to help them be successful. So that's my win. That's the reason why I want to do it. They already said that they want to make it accessible. So I'm going to align your goals with your mission and my mission, and now everybody's happy. Now all we have to do is come up with a price. Okay? So that's just one way that we look for mutually beneficial alliances. And then upholding trust and honesty. This is a huge part. And that kind of goes back to that whole catfishing thing I just talked about earlier with dating, is be the person. And don't try to do things that they may ask you to do because you just want to get the contract. So this is one of the pitfalls. So I'll divulge. I'm working on something with the NBA around small businesses. And they wanted us to do something very specific. They wanted us to take over a program, and they asked if this was an option. And anybody, what would you have said? I said no. Why? Because I followed up with, my objective here is to build a relationship. So if I take this on and we're not ready for it and it doesn't go well, this doesn't only affect our relationship, it affects anybody that I try to talk to that you know. So I said, in exchange, this is what I'd like to do. So we're kind of waiting to see if that's going to work. And if it doesn't work, I'm fine with that, because my structure and strategy is so solid, I can take the concept somewhere else if I have to. I'm not connected to the fact that this has to happen. What I'm connected to the fact is I need a partnership in this area, and somebody is going to be the right fit. But I have to hold true to what I consider as a great partnership for this. Now, again, who am I? I'm just someone who just had a few ideas. So people go, oh, Jimmy. And I'm like, okay, yeah, let's go. We tend to be well-grounded. So it's not about the fame. It's about the fact that I'm trying to help someone. And at the end of the day, that will always stay true. So what can we do? But I'm thinking bigger because I have a purpose that makes me have to think bigger. And I've committed to it. Okay? So now you got to do something called conducting research. And like I said, this is really the biggest part. So there are tools I use. You have to determine, if you're doing this research, what are the things I need to know about my partner? Now, this is assuming already that you've done the homework on who you are, and you've done a great job of pulling together you or your organization. And I always say there's actually two entities here. You are a brand and your company is a brand. And when you embrace that, you've got the best of both worlds. I choose which brand to put in front when I reach out. When I went to London, I used the brand of Jimmy Newson. But when I went to NBA or some big company, I used the brand, because it all depends on who you're trying to pitch. When I'm trying to pitch an organization, when I'm trying to pitch someone who's in charge of putting someone on stage to be in front of people, I don't care about the company. I want them to believe in me, and I'm going to deliver value. But when I'm trying to pitch somebody like MasterCard or the NBA, I'm putting the company first, because a company that big wants to see an organization that's not necessarily you. And if you're not big enough, they're not going to give you the deal. So you need to leverage all these in the best way possible. So when we talk about market research, these are the things that I want to know. So now I spend a lot of time talking about your purpose, vision, and mission, but now you want to make sure, one, you're very clear on the target alignment. So when I ever hear a potential client say, my target audience is everyone, I'm like, nope, not a good fit. That's way too much work for me to try to undo that. When then so if they want to talk about key, they're like, but if they say, it's hard, I cater to these people, but I also cater to these people. I go, that's fine. Those are called personas. So you create personas, because you're going to talk to those personas differently. So this is not your typical marketing. This is kind of after you've got your marketing together. So we can have another conversation later on some marketing and sales. But right now, this is now that you've got this in place, okay? So you want to understand target market alliance. And then you want to be able to review their purpose, mission, and vision. I've got companies reaching out to me now because of the mission. We saw your mission and we're in alignment with that. We're wondering how we can work together. Great, let's have a conversation. Because they're not thinking transactional anymore. They're thinking relationship, and they're thinking, and so what is my objective of building these type of relationships? Distribution channel. That's why I go upstream. These big organizations, I spend a lot of time in the music industry, and radio and record labels, they sign a ton of artists. Why do these artists sign? They want distribution. Okay, so labels sign you, and with the objective of you'll get your record all over the world. Of course, that was probably many years ago. Now it's all digital, but you get the idea. Okay, here it's the same thing. In order for me to live my mission of saving 1 million businesses, I need a distribution channel to millions of small businesses. So that becomes an objective to me, and that's where the partnerships. Now Now think about it. If I didn't create this mission, I'd still be thinking about just getting any client I can get. Now this changes the game. So when you start to really focus in on your purpose, vision, mission, which might take you months to do, it is worth the time to do it, because you will start to now think selflessly and start to think about, how do I create relationships that help me do this? And then when others see it, they're like, I want to help you do that. Great. Now we can have a conversation. So you want to understand their unique selling proposition, unique value proposition. Are they advertising? So if you're looking for money, and most of the time I am, but it's for a bigger cause, and of course it brings revenue into my company. If they're not advertising, there are tools that can tell you if a company's advertising, and it'll tell you how much they're spending, and it'll also tell you what they're targeting. So now normally we use this for competitive research and analysis, but I use the same tactics for my partnerships. Why? Because I'm looking for places where I can help them, especially when they don't know they need help. And And when you find the opportunity to tell them where they are lacking and how they can be helped, you know what you just did? You just made yourself a friend. And now they're going, and now there's trust, there's expertise, and all these other things. And every person in here, no matter what you do, you have a level of expertise. You just got to define what a good partnership looks like. We'll talk about that in a second, I hope. Reviewing their social media channels. Don't struggle to figure out how to talk to the audience. If you have someone that's that serves the same audience, whether they're in your industry specifically or not, but they serve the same audience and they're doing it well, if they're talking about a trending topic, you talk about the trending topic. If they're talking about some specific thing, you can talk about it. What's the difference? Is you're going to talk about it from your position. Okay? So now you're becoming a part of the conversation. When I reach out to people on LinkedIn, I don't connect with them and then immediately hit them with, yo, we need to talk because I want to create a partnership with you and I'll send you my price sheet. Is that a partnership? And it infuriates me because I'm like, a partnership is not that. When I reached out, I did an outreach that I have not closed yet because I've been kind of busy with T-Mobile for Business. Okay, so this is how it went down. I like to kind of share things, that are pretty open. And I saw they were doing some stuff. And so I went in and I read some of the posts. And then I immediately started commenting, adding my expertise. And I did that for a few weeks. Then I started friending people in that organization. And then I started referencing that. And I also have a tool called Crunchbase. Has anybody heard of Crunchbase? Okay, Crunchbase is the bomb. Okay, and they have a little tool that you could put in your browser, and so it just sits on the side of every website you visit. So whenever I go to a software company or someone reaches me, you click on it, you can see all the key people on LinkedIn. You can see any money they've raised, especially because you're talking partnerships, but you can also see all the press releases. This is free. This tool is free. So now when I can see that they were just in the news for something important, I now leverage that in opening up a conversation with them. Why? That's after the fact that I determined that they would make a great partner. Okay? Start having those conversations. Now they're like, so now I'm getting return phone calls. I'm getting return messages. A lot of this is either code or strictly 100% online. I usually don't even go phone. I usually go straight to Zoom because I want them to see me. And so I want to make sure that they understand that I'm serious about this. Read their reviews, especially if they've had some trouble, and you might be able to help them. When you've got your eye on the prize, you can kind of see how you can help these partners. Now, understand, that's where that second win, when I said the partner, this is the work you're doing. So when that partner, they're going, man, there's no, at the end of the day, we want it to be like, how can we not work with this individual? The amount of value he's delivered to me is worth more than if I had to pay him. And now he's talking about a partnership to help us both gain more, build better relationships with current and potentially new clients. That's what we want. We want to retain and we want to bring in new. And when you're leveraging it, and all this has to do with digital, because this is all being done digitally. And then you're checking their PR. Okay, so developing a value proposition. So value map is you, customer profile is your customer. So you need to know, of course, what your products and services are. When I look at products and services, I go from feature to benefit of feature to result of benefit. Result of benefit is why I spend all my time as a marketer talking to people, because they want the end result. They don't want anything before that because they just tune out. This is a sales pitch. I ain't interested in that. I need to talk to them about what does the future look like for you. So we want to rework our products and services to be where the conversations are about the results. Pain relievers. We're in the problem solving business. That's been said quite a bit. So that again brings it back to what is the results of the products that we talk about. And then gain creators. This is where this could mean a lot of things. This could be how you can bring on ambassadors. This is how you can get people behind, on your team to be better at customer service, because customer service helps with retention. And then that starts the whole cycle all over again. Okay. On the customer side, You're talking about, well, what is the purpose? So I will give you a really great thing I love to do, fire. I can sell you fire. So people go, well, this is my product. So my product is fire. I can sell fire to you 4 different ways. You ready to hear it? Yep. First way I'm going to sell it to you is light, because you're tired of walking through the room in the night and bumping your pinky toe on the coffee table. So buy my fire, so that never happens again, because that is so painful. Okay. Second, you want to get salmonella? No. Then buy my fire so you can cook that chicken. Okay? And you ain't got to worry about whatever's going to happen to you after you eat that raw chicken. The third way of selling this fire. Entrepreneurs, do you need a fire lit under your butt to get the things done? Yes. Then buy my fire. Okay? Now you see what I did? The fourth one I forgot, so I'm gonna have to come back to that. But the point is, those are 4 different people. Those are 4 different problems. And you need content for each one of those. So the problem I see with small business owners is the moment they get in front of you, they want to tell you everything that you've done, that they can do for you. And people don't need everything. Again, they start to tune out. But if you know that they sign up just to get fired to cook food, that's all you talk about until you get them to make a decision. After they make a decision, here's the best question I ever heard from a client. What else can you help me with? You've done your job. Okay? So when you stay focused on the reason, and again, this is why. So I was coaching someone recently. She works with those getting ready to retire, and now they're looking for that next stage of their life. So there's an organization she did some work with. I said, what's the partnership look like? She goes, I don't know, I just do a couple of things. I go, no, we restructure this. I go, let's look at the value you bring. She goes, well, they cater to so many different things. Don't care. I said, the focus here is you just become the expert of one of those key demographics for them, and you crush it. And so that's what she's doing now. And what that does is it takes the pressure off of them to have to continue to deal with this. Now they can focus on the other 3. So you're helping them. Again, you're stepping up to the plate, and you are an expert because you live it and breathe it every single day. Does that make sense? Okay, let's keep going here. We're almost done. This is the biggest one. And this is where I see a lot of even bigger organizations fall flat. Build a community. There's nothing worse than running ads, if you've ever run them, and then you get all this great support, and the event is over, or the program's over, or this ends. And then the next time you start something up 6 months later, you got to advertise to those people all over again. You build a community. You build a place where they can start to congregate, and you are the Oprah of that community. Oprah doesn't do content. She finds people who do content and delivers to the audience that she knows is her audience. That's what you are. Okay? So you build a community. Building a community is not just a brand. So I don't even use my brand in a lot of my communities. I just use the common goal of why are we connected? How are we here? What are we trying to achieve? And when you're doing that, you have the opportunity to build better relationships. And it's the same as what is going on here. Okay? But now you're going to be very purposeful in creating your own community. Okay? And it's going to grow. Today there's 3 people. Tomorrow there's 10. Next week there's 100. And then it starts to snowball. And then you just kind of try to make sure that you can foster it enough that people start to become self-reliant and they start to post. And you get what's called user-generated content, where they start producing content. But sometimes you got to fuel a little bit. You got to throw those logs in the fire so it starts to, build up. So these are a lot of things. So what do we want to do when we're trying to build a relationship? Create relationship with influencers. So there are tools out there that if you type in your industry, it's going to tell you who's the most active in that industry. Okay? And so if you can connect with those influencers, you're able to figure out, and if you're focused on your purpose, vision, and mission, and you started to create content that aligns with that, that's non-salesy, you now have information that they can leverage to make themselves look better. So I love to make my partners look better. That makes me look better. I don't even need recognition. I just need a check. And the check is not because of that, but the check is because they continuing to give it to me because I'm continuously providing results. With the partner that I did this with, I got them in Entrepreneur. They thought I was crazy when they first met me. I'm like, this is what we're going to do, 6-part series and this and that. And they're like, who the hell is this brother right here? And I delivered on every single thing. And I didn't tell them I was get them in Entrepreneur because I didn't know if I could do it, but I already had it put in there to plan it. So I did it. And I said, oh, here's this. Then when I went to London, I took the same partner. Now, they'd already given me a check. But I said, hey, guess what? I'm in London. I'm going to be talking. How about if I give you, now, normally I would have given it away for free. But guess who's getting smarter? I was like, and that's where it kind of gets scared. You're like, oh, well, they just gave me money. It's a totally different opportunity, which means that, and when you're dealing with bigger businesses, they have something that us small business owners don't have sometimes, a budget. Oh my goodness. They're like, oh, we got a budget for that. I'm just like, oh, so how much is that going? Sometimes you know, sometimes you don't. But I pitched them I gave them 3 packages to sponsor me on stage and do some other stuff. And it was still relatively high. And they were like, oh yeah, this is great. Take that one. So I said, okay. I didn't think that was going to happen. And then I got there, I got a couple pictures, I sent them to them, and they were like, and it had their logo and everything on it, and I'm on stage. Okay. And they were like, oh, this is great. We're going to use this on the cover of our report to our team. I want to be on the report. Like, you're just delivering these little things, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. But you see, and so when we talk about creating influencers, we're creating relationship with influencers. We're letting the audience feel like they already know them. So when I'm building these communities, I'm letting them know you are a priority. And more importantly, I'm never building in a silo. So I just build structures, and I allow others to fill those structures up. When I do partnership deals, when I decide to create programming for a community, when you try to do everything and solve every problem, oh, well, what if they don't like this? Don't worry about that. Just do it. They're going to tell you if they don't like it. And then when they don't like it, you just go, okay, well, what would you like? I would prefer it if it wasn't so long. Now you're thinking, oh, it needs to be long because they need to learn. They're going, no, I just want bite-sized things I can look at every single day. And if you do that, I will look at it every single day. Okay. I remember once I was doing a 14-day challenge. Now, the key word in this is, it actually says in the title, 14 days. So, of course, I get a complaint from some lady going, why are you doing this every day? And you got to sit back and go, some people just don't read. And you're just like, because it says 14-day challenge. I said, oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Please unsubscribe. Because it's going to have to keep going on. And that's where you're like, and I do this entrepreneur, what if they don't? What if they don't? I go, well, if I email them every day, I go, that's if you know that if you've done your research, you know that this industry is an everyday type of thing, then you need to do it. And those that don't want to be a part of it will opt out. You don't worry about these little things. You just do. You just do. You just do. Period. And everything will work itself out. And this is what we call research. You're getting this back. You're talking to your audience. It's a two-way street. Social media opened up the doors for this to be a two-way street. Had a horrible relationship and conversation with Spirit. And how did I finally get their attention? Twitter. Not their chats, not their stuff. It was Twitter. When I started interacting on Twitter, they shaped up real quick. So it's not as easy to hide. And how can you help them? So it doesn't matter whether you're in security, whether you know these are things. There are really great opportunities for you to leverage your expertise. I know you were talking about programming. That's a huge aspect of scaling. We don't really offer services anymore in moving forward small businesses because it's too time consuming for us. It's too labor intensive. We want to create programming and we want to create partnerships. Another partnership we just closed is with the digital marketing world, the Small Business Digital Alliance, which is a part of the Small Business Administration. We took all the programming that's already done and gave it to them to help fulfill their need. So what does that do for me? That gives me bragging right that I'm partnered with them. It also now, again, gives me access to millions of small businesses around the country that I plan on monetizing on the back end. Now that monetization could be them paying for membership, or they go free, and I use sponsorship as a way of, because I have very specific eyeballs. I can tell you who these people are. I know what they do. I know how they think. And so this is how deep you go. And the deeper you go with this, the easier it will come. The work is on the front end. When you build this, I have no clue what time it is. So I get. Oh, man. Okay. All right, let me get through this because I want to get to some questions. Build online, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so influencer marketing. So you don't have to be good at social media. You just need to be there, okay? And you just need to understand how it works a bit. So all this stuff, when we start talking, we have programming that's free that dives deeper into social media, that dives deep into SEO and all these other things. This here is mindset stuff. This is here is the bigger picture. So it gives you that, why am I doing this? And what should I be looking at? So whether you're doing the work or not, as a solo practitioner, or you have a team, all you want to do is understand, why should we be doing this? You know, I heard you ask about which platforms I should be on. If you understand your target market, they're going to tell you what platforms you should be on. Okay. And that doesn't mean you start all of them. If you have no experience, you pick one. You know, if you're B2C, it's anything but LinkedIn. If you're B2B and you're not on LinkedIn, shame on you. All right. And I get no profits from that statement. So, okay. So you focus on, there's a tool that will allow you, if you put in your user, if you put in your industry, it'll tell you the bloggers and the people who focus on your industry. So you start to outreach to them and you figure out ways of creating creative partnerships. The key with this is you have to have something in place to drive that traffic. And also we call that 15 minutes of fame. It's expensive at some points. At some point. So you want to make sure that you're driving them somewhere. What's the offer going to be that's so irresistible that they immediately have to start working with you? Okay. We've made numerous pivots in the last 6 months alone. And I think James said it best. You know, when we built Moving Forward Small Business, it is totally different than what we thought it was going to be. In all honesty, it's way better, because I still get to do the one thing that we said we we're going to do: help businesses grow. Okay. And that's when that purpose comes in. So it's not about the vehicle. It's about where the journey that you're taking and the destination you're trying to get to. And you use whatever vehicle makes sense, or whatever vehicle is at your disposal at that time. Okay. So if you're integrating social media into your strategic partnerships, you want to take the lead here. So what you're doing is you're providing the assets. Why are you providing the assets? Because have you ever heard someone try to explain your business to somebody else? How painful can that be sometimes? And you're going, oh, they got it all wrong. No, it's not. It's not. So when I do events, I do the promos for my clients because it's worth it. Plus, now I can do branding. And I make sure that they look good. Again, because I need them to look good, because then they will appreciate working with me. There's nothing better than getting an email that says, you were the easiest partner we've ever worked for. Great, I've done my job. Now I know that I can now make another pitch, and they're looking forward to it. When I did my first initial pitch with Href, which is the tool that helped me create this program, I did all the work, but they helped me. Before the program was over, before I could send them an email to talk about next one, they were like, this is great. As soon as this is over, can you send us an ideas for your next program? Send us ideas. I never send what I want to do. I send them ideas of what I'm thinking of doing. That's how you don't create in a silo. So then they go, I like this, and I'm not really sure about this, and I would like more explanation on that. If you can get them to buy in on creation, there's a better chance that not only will they start the project with you, but they will finish it. If you create the entire program without their input, they still may love it, but I can tell you it's a nightmare trying to get them to follow through on things, because there's really no vested interest other than the yes they gave you that they like the program. Okay, so make it easy for your partners to share your message, because you're giving them all the stuff. I'm giving swipe files. I'm giving any and everything I can do, and I'm like, you just use what you want. Whatever mode you use to communicate is on you, but I've given you everything that I can think of. So you're creating SOPs for this. Someone talked earlier about processes. There's a tool that's not on here, so I'll mention it's called Trainual. And Trainual will allow you to build processes for your business, especially when you're just starting out. So you might not be ready to hire someone, but you need to start documenting how you get things done so you can have something that they can follow. I'll give them the ability to modify it as we see better best practices come through, but we have a conversation on that. But if someone leaves you, you need to be able to get that next person up and running quickly, and you don't have the time, or do you not want to dedicate the time to do that, because then that takes you away from your goals. So you're going to start leveraging technology a lot more. And so you co-create when possible. And that's kind of what I was talking about a little bit earlier. So, and then you start thinking about offline activities. So don't just stick to online if you can. So QR codes on print materials, branded apparel with teams, sponsor offline events and face-to-face, which you can see a lot of the banks. Banks ain't sleeping. They know what time it is. Nice job. Okay. Partner with local businesses. So you're a pizza shop. And then you got a balloon company down the street, and you've got some shoe company. Figure out a way to do something with all three of you where the value together is better. So then you outshine the pizza shops, they outshine the shoe companies, and they outshine the balloon companies, because you guys came together and made this unique thing as a partnership. Okay. And so this is something I do a lot. So for our membership, I reached out to a software company and said, I'm going to build the majority of our membership around strategy. And your tool is a tool I want to use. So how can we work together as partners? And they were like, let's do this. So now, and they've already got hundreds of thousands of customers. So why would they want to partner with me? Because I'm a brand, because I can speak, because I can understand things and do things that they can't do. And it's going to not only give them new customers, but more importantly, it's going to help keep the customers they already have even more satisfied. Okay? So if you can do that and keep their customers happy, it reduces risk. Oh, snap, I just stole something from the other group. Okay? Risk. I'm sorry. All right. So here are some of the tools I use. Href. And so when it comes to making sure yourself, your everything about you is on point, you need to analyze your website and see what you can't see that's causing you from SEO, from being able to grow your digital presence. Your website is the most important aspect of your partnerships, because believe me, the moment you say you want a partnership and you start reaching out, they're going to start doing their homework on you, and they're going to use the sources that are familiar with them, the social media channels that's familiar with them. They're going to go to your website. They're going to do everything. So you need to make sure that you've done auditing on your site. This is another tool. It's called Spark Toro. It helps you find your audience. It lets you know where, if you understand now who your audience is, you can see what websites are they visiting, what social media platforms are they on. Now, when you know this information, you now know, and it's not about you knowing the audience. You just need to know, well, what do I sell? What industry do I serve? And now you can start looking at these websites and determining, are they competitors or are they partners? Are they potential partners? Sometimes competitors can be partners if you look at it properly. Okay? We got, oops, let me back up. How do I back up here, Andrew? I just hit this button. Oh, I did it. Okay, here we go. Ninja Outreach. This is where you can find influencers on YouTube and Instagram, And like I said, and this is a way, especially when you're a small business, if you can leverage these. One thing I love about partnerships is, say you have a small team. When you partner with an organization, their team becomes your team, and you become their team. Now, when I think about my partnerships, I have about 20, 25 of them. I have a huge, not network, well, I guess you can call it network, but I have a huge ecosystem of support, because we're so in alignment with how we help each other and how we benefit from each other. So you can find Instagram and YouTube influencers and start your first campaign to test something out. It could just be as easy as a question to find out, why did you buy my product, or why would you buy a product like this? So I'll use it at every stage, either to get feedback on an idea, or to get feedback on something that already exists, or to even get feedback on the current, what's going on in the world right now, because I want to see how I can leverage that in a good way, of course. So there's so many different ways. You just have to determine what that is. Okay? At data. So that if you do have email addresses, that data will allow you to analyze those and get the right contact information and fill out that profile. Because at the end of the day, the more you can describe your audience, the easier and the better it's going to be for creating partnerships, especially the higher upstream you float. And I heard a statistic from a sponsorship guy that I work with, and he said if you're B2C, you need at least 25 data points on your audience. If you're B2B, you need about 10 to 15. So B2B is easier because it's usually pretty straightforward what they're looking for. B2C is a lot harder because it could be anything. Okay. And then we have Pikfu. Now, Pikfu is really cool because you can immediately, within minutes, get get research on any topic or idea. So you leverage this here to kind of ask questions, and there are literally people on call that want to answer your surveys. Not sure why, but it is. But it's a great tool that you can use to get immediate feedback, so you're not creating something that no one wants. Okay. And then this is one of my favorite tools. There's two more. This is called Winmo. So now if you're really swimming upstream, you can use Winmo, and you can get free access to this tool. It's like an $8,000 a year tool, but you get free access to it if you go through the New York City Public Library. Okay. And in this is a tool that people in the advertising will use to see what spend budgets that these big organizations have. Now, if you have things that can be sponsored, if you have opportunities where you're doing stuff where there's, you're bringing people together, this here will tell you, let's say you look up Microsoft, and you not only can you see how much money they spent in 2019, 2020, and 21. It's broken down by digital, out of home, radio, television, sponsorship. So now, if my job is to figure out how to get money from them for for this digital program, I'm going to try to get money out of their digital account. And I know that they spent $25 million in digital. Then it's easy for me to say, all right, if I'm going to take advertising, when you're advertising, it's a one-to-one. They're advertising, hoping to get money back. Now, it could be a 1, 2, 3, 4. But when you're talking about sponsorship or anything like that, it's a 3 to 1 or 4 to 1 return on the money. So I can say, for the same money you're doing in advertising, I'm going to create an experience for your audience, okay? And at the same price you're spending, but give you 4 times the return on that, okay? So there's a lot to that, but this is where you can actually see where they're spending money. And you need to know this if you're looking for even type of sponsorships for these programs, these things you want to put together. If it's an online course, you can get it sponsored. If it's an event, you can get it sponsored. If there's anything you're doing that deals with the community and your target audience, you can get it sponsored if it's positioned properly. Okay, and then the last one is Buzzsumo, which allows you to see what topics are trending across on social media. So you can start the conversation where the conversation currently is. Again, you're not guessing. And then I mentioned Crunchbase. So if you're B2B, this is a great tool that you can use. And then LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a great tool. LinkedIn pages, because you can find out a lot about a company. I actually used LinkedIn to start my relationship with T-Mobile. I just went to their page, read a lot of stuff, found the right people, emailed 3, 1 got back to me. All right, great. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk more. Okay. So final word is data. The more you can leverage data and understand, on top of the fact that you're very clear on your purpose, vision, and mission and your target audience, data will give you the tools you need to start to think bigger and position yourself so you get the call back, you get the opportunity to communicate with the right person, and then you can start to make things happen. And this is how you skyrocket your strategy, your structure, your business, everything about what you're doing. So connect with me on LinkedIn. I'd love to connect with you all. I'd love to talk to you. Hope you enjoyed it. I'd like to open this up for questions if we have time. We have time for one question because I talk so much. I'm sorry. All right, we have time for one question. Who is it going to be? Oh, snap. Dun, dun, dun. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, Mr. Newson. Nice to see you again. Met you a few times. You have a fabulous smile, by the way. That's definitely part of your branding, by the way. My question is this, because I hear it a lot, especially from clients. They say, I'm zoomed out. They want to get off of Zoom. They do want to get back into networking, basically. But a lot of people, like, how do you approach that when you get this?
So she was saying, a lot of people are saying they're zoomed out. I actually love this question because I'm all about digital. And so the thing is, digital is here to stay. They're all zoomed out because that's all we did. But I still do more online stuff than I do offline. Why? Because I deal with a national and global audience now, and you will too. And there's no way that those people can still make it to your event. So you have to do it. So, you know, when they say they're all zoomed out, I get it. But that doesn't mean you change your strategy. You know, you can add live events if that's the case, but they still, for moving forward, if the pandemic didn't teach us anything, is that anything can happen. And if something like this happens again, resurgence or whatnot, people will have to go back online. So if you go offline now because you think you are, you know how fast this technology changes? Very fast. You can be out of the loop really quick if you don't do it. So Zoom may not be the thing tomorrow, but you got to stay with it until there's something new, there's a better experience. We're moving a lot faster now than we were decades before. So, you know, what is his name? Gary Vaynerchuk. He said what the pandemic done for small businesses and businesses in general and the community in general, it took what people would have taken 5 years to learn and made them have to learn it in 1 year. Now, we are in a hybrid world. Think about this. We're online and in person. So it solves both problems. For those that are not ready to go back live, they're watching it on Zoom or Zoom-ish thing. And those that are ready to come out, they come out. So you just gotta, you know, look at things differently and figure out, how do I work this process? Because of course I can understand why they're zoomed out. But for me, when people call me up to have meetings, I prefer to do a Zoom first. Why? Because it's just a better use of my time. So it will always be a part of my strategy. Okay. All right. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Excellent. Once again, thanks, Jimmy. All right. So how was that? All right. Told you it was excellent. So definitely. Hey, Dale, what's up? I didn't know you were coming today. Welcome, Dale Caldwell. So definitely, we're having a great day. You learned a little bit about marketing, or maybe even a lot. Jimmy went through a lot of his slides and everything real fast, but all of his slides are available on the Resource Center. So you can download them and you can get access to them and you can see them. So you can get access to these tools because, you know, competitors have these tools. If you're not using them, they are. Where does that put you? So, you know, great presentation, great evening, afternoon. We want to sign off because we want to make sure we have time for people to meet each other because we've got some tremendous people in the room. And then we'll be back at 2:30 for our final panel. And we have an outstanding panel. It's going to focus on growing your revenues, maximizing your revenues. Casey Carpenter is going to be moderating. We've got Precious Williams, the killer pitch master. And then we also have Joy. I'm not going to try your last name, but Joy is going to be excellent as well. And then we also have Mark in the back. So great panel. Grab a snack, something to drink, something to eat, and we'll be back at 2:30. Thank you.